So one day in Kenya, a group of people were walking through an estate when they saw a potato bag. These people immediately ran to the potato bag to, probably take the free potato home. But to their greatest surprise, when they got to where the bag was, they discovered that potato wasn't in it. Rather, it was a human being, a man. Nobody knew who this man was at first, but when the police arrived on the scene, they identified this man as Solomon, a school principal who had been missing for 8 days. He disappeared on the 6th of November, and since then, his colleagues, his students, his family had all been praying for his safe return, but unknown to them, he was dead. Someone had killed him and dumped his body inside a potato bag by the roadside. The police immediately launched an investigation into this case by carrying out an autopsy on Solomon's corpse. When the autopsy results came out, it revealed that Solomon was strangled with a rope, and even worse, a drug called xylazine was found in his system. Now, this xylazine is a sedative or a sleeping drug used to make animals sleep, meaning whoever carried out this killing of Solomon, they used this xylazine to, make him unconscious before strangling him. These people made sure that Solomon would die, he would not survive. And the question now was, who are these people, or who is this person? To find the answer, the police began interrogating everyone close to Solomon, from his wife to his colleagues at his high school to his friends. They were all questioned, but the only person who gave a meaningful information was Solomon's wife, Jane. While in tears, she revealed to the police that her marriage with Solomon was filled with milk and honey. Like, it was the sweetest thing ever. She told them how even on the last day she saw Solomon, he told her how much he loved her. He was a kind man. He never looked for people's trouble, but some people were always looking for his trouble. The police asked who these people were, and that was when Jane told them that it was a group of principals from other schools. She revealed that these principals were involved in something corrupt, and they would go about recruiting other principals of other schools. However, when they came to Solomon and asked him to join them, he refused, and because of that, they had been giving him issues ever since. She told the police that these principals might be the one responsible for Solomon's death. Now, because all this was hearsay, Solomon's wife didn't really have any proof and there wasn't enough evidence, the police couldn't just go after the said principals one by one. So they just continued with their own investigation in the background, and luckily for them, this background investigation led them to an entirely different man named Joseph. Now, when the police arrested this Joseph, they questioned him, and Joseph revealed to them that yes, he was the one that carried out the attack on Solomon. The police asked Joseph why he did it. Solomon was a peaceful man who loved teaching his students, so why would he take his life? Joseph responded to them by saying if he was going to tell them the truth about the whole case, they would have to give him a plea deal, meaning they would reduce his sentence in exchange for whatever information he gave them. The police, desperate to get to the root of this matter, accepted Joseph's offer, and that was when he told them the whole truth. Joseph didn't end Solomon because he wanted to, but he did it because someone paid him to do it, and you won't believe who this person was. Let's rewind. You see, before Solomon's death, there was a POS girl he used to do business with. Most times, whenever he needed to carry out any transaction, he would go to this particular POS girl. Because of this, his wife Jane began suspecting that he was cheating on her with this POS girl. And so, she began doing what women do when they think their man is cheating. She confronted Solomon and also the girl, but both of them denied having any affair. However, Jane refused to believe them. She then began threatening the girl, telling her to leave her husband. One time, she even used police officers to, threaten this girl, hoping it would keep her and Solomon apart. But still, that didn't work. The two continued with their business, and so this angered Jane, and she decided she was going to end the POS girl for good. Through the help of a connect, Jane was linked to Joseph. She paid him a huge sum of money and instructed him to end the POS girl. But when Joseph and his accomplice went for this operation, they realized that the POS girl's shop was directly opposite a police station, and in fact, on the same street, there was a bank. Meaning, if they should, go and carry out that mission, they would definitely get caught. So they returned and informed Jane, and that's when Jane came up with a much more evil plan. If they couldn't end the POS girl, then they should end her own husband. After all, he had betrayed her by cheating. She told Joseph and his partner to use the money she had already paid to carry out the killing of her husband instead. She told them she would personally deliver her husband to them so that they can, carry out the job, and that when the job was done, she would pay them an additional $3,000, and so the men accepted immediately. On the day of the murder, Jane drugged Solomon with xylazine, the same animal sleeping medicine. Then she drove him to where Joseph and his accomplice were waiting, left him with them, and drove away. Joseph and his accomplice then strangled Solomon, packed his body into the potato bag, dumped it by the roadside, and ran away. But here is where things get tense. Remember, Jane promised Joseph an extra $3,000 once the job was done. After it was completed, guess what Jane did? She blocked Joseph completely and stopped responding to every message. Joseph tried every possible way to reach her. He even used different phone numbers, but the moment Jane noticed that it is Joseph that is on the line, she would block him. She kept on blocking and blocking. Because of this, Joseph swore to get revenge on Jane. She made him do a job and then blocked him after completing the job. But before Joseph could even do anything, the police caught up to him, and so right there and then, he decided to get back at Jane in another way, exposing her to the police in exchange for a lesser sentence. He confessed that Jane was the one behind everything, and that was how Jane was arrested. She was charged in court and sentenced to 30 years in prison for masterminding the murder of her own husband. As for Joseph, he received only 7 years because of the deal he struck with the police. And as for his accomplice, that one ran away. He was never found and he's still on the run. The most shocking part of this entire story is that when the court went through all the evidence they had gathered, including the POS girl conversations with Solomon, they found no proof that Solomon and the POS girl ever had anything together. They were just strictly business partners, meaning Jane ended her husband over something that was never even real. She killed him because of her own imagination. This year 2026 makes it 5 years Jane has spent in jail. So by 2051, she would be eligible for parole, and yes, this is her recent photo in jail.